I can't believe everybody's worried about this. It's crazy to me, frankly. I had a guy comment on my YouTube channel. I think he had like $2 million or something like that. He's like, I'm so worried about the debt crisis. I'm so worried about the dollar crashing. I just, he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, they've done a great, Peter Schiff and the boys have done a great job scaring the bejesus out of you. It's just as sad, man. Oh, by the way, I've got my Maine gun owners of Maine shirt on, protecting our gun rights. Heading down to jury duty. Our highly esteemed district attorney, Fannie Willis. Yes, sir. Yes, sirski. She's going to prosecute bad guys. I'm headed down to jury duty. Who knows what case I'll be on? Of course, I left at 7, and I won't get there till 8:30. You're supposed to be there at 8:30. That's just to get the parking. I used to have to deal with this every single day on both sides, man. It's insane. Like, I'm only right now at, Holcomb Bridge Road. It's insane how freaking traffic is in Atlanta. Don't move to Atlanta, dude. You're not. If you're going to move to Atlanta, don't move where you have to work in Atlanta. Because you're gone crazy. You're loco, as we say in Espanol. Yes, I can't pronounce my R's, but I'm still native speakers. I can't believe I can't roll my R's. Just sat there for freaking 10 minutes trying to... The guy said... And that's how you relax your tongue. I get this guy. He's doing pretty good, but, man, it's just practice. It took me forever to figure out how to whistle. Now I can whistle. I mean, it took me forever to practice when I was a kid. Now I can whistle. It's kept up with the whole life, so just got to practice. Anyway, so why should you not be worried about the debt of America? All right. Every stinking country is in massive amounts of debt. Every single country. Look at all the debt. Just look at every single one, dude. Every single one. You look at the current account balances. You look at debt as percentage of GDP. You just go to Trading Economics, and you can see on the very front page, scroll down, and you'll see the debt levels, debt as a percentage of GDP, the current account balances, which is their trade deficits. You're going to see, it's debt, total debt. I mean, and now look, I'm not talking about, crazy Belize, and I love you, Belize. I don't know what that is. I don't know what their stuff is. I'm just talking about the major economies. I wish I would have done this so I could show it to you, but I'm driving, figure I'll do a video while I'm on my way, because Fannie Willis might lock me up. I know you were there for January 6th, Scanlon. I know you were. Ooh, looks like a messed up ladder. I wasn't, Fannie. I wasn't. Don't prosecute me. Don't send me to jail for 18 years, unlike the BLM process, the Antifa guys. Anyway, just look at every single country out there. And that's government debt, by the way. Now you want to look at total debt. This is what's crazy to me, is total debt in terms of private debt dwarfs government debt. Do you not know that? I mean... total private debt dwarfs government debt, and this is why a great book I've been reading, and I interviewed the guy Richard Vague, the paradox of debt. I mean, it is what it is. The whole world is encompassed in debt. Now, what happens, and this is why I say deflation is coming, and I don't know when it's going to be. I mean, hell, I've been wrong. There hasn't been any deflation. I'll tell you that. Who knows? But if we start a massive paying down debt a la Japan, there's deflation. But Japan didn't really have deflation. They kind of did. They had deflation. They had no inflation for years, man. None. And the only reason they had any inflation was because the freaking government was borrowing like borrowing. And that gave them a tiny little bit of inflation. But the facts are the consumer economy was not borrowing. They just weren't. And that's what my man called debt. It wasn't a debt crisis. I forgot what my man Richard Koo called it. But anyway, that led to the massive amount of deflationary policies. And some guy was saying, wait till I can't remember if it was on my YouTube channel. It wasn't on my YouTube channel. It was on Advisor Perspectives. And a guy that I follow, but he goes, wait till they go back to zero interest rate policy. That's going to lead to mass inflation. And you're like, that's just not true. It's just not true, man. I mean, zero interest rate policy did not lead to mass inflation in Japan, did not lead to mass inflation in the United States. It just didn't. I mean, I just don't get this. Oh, yeah, dude, look, it's kind of like saying the inverted yield curve leads to a recession. Again, I would go back to the scenario that if you eat carrots, you will die. We know for a fact if you eat carrots, you will die. It's just that simple. We know for a fact if you go to zero interest rate policy, ZIRP, or a negative interest rate policy, NIRP, you will have inflation at some point. But is it because of NIRP or ZIRP? No, it's just not, man. It's the weirdest thing. Well, they're going to get rid of the U.S. dollar. It's weird to me. Who are the biggest trading partners in the United States? Do you want to take a gander? Just look it up and report back here. Who are the biggest trading partners in the United States? Just look it up. Who owns the vast majority of U.S. government debt? Look it up. The idea that the government taking on debt is going to lead to a debt crisis. Where is the evidence of this? Again, I did a couple of videos when I was reading the fiat inflation in France during the Robespierre times. We talked about Deutschmark, whatever the hell it was, in Germany. We've talked about other things, Zimbabwe. These are where they're inflating the dollar. Like in France, in the course of 3 years, they printed hundreds of millions of assignats, what they called it back then. I'm not pronouncing that right because I'm not native French. This is in the 1780s, hundreds and hundreds of millions or whatever the hell it was. So they went from basically 5 to 50 million or something like that. We're just not doing that in the United States. It's just not the case. This is why I always say look at the log as opposed to the arithmetic. The log will show you the increase in monetary supply over the previous year percentage-wise. If you want to look at dollars-wise, you're missing it the percentage. Percentage is what matters. The amount of dollars. We've printed more money in the last 2 years than we ever had in history. Whatever the hell it is. You got to look at percentages. What's the percentage increase? It doesn't make any sense to compare the amount of dollars we printed in freaking 2020 or whatever the hell it was to 1970. It makes no sense. You got to look at percentage base, man. What's the increase relative to percentage? That's what matters. The actual dollar amount doesn't matter. It's all based on percentage increase from the year previous. Anyway, I'm like, well, okay. The U.S. government has a government debt to GDP, 125. Japan's been over 200% for like over 20 years now. But Japan's not like us. I hear that story all the time. It's so freaking stupid. Japan is different. Oh my goodness. All right, so what do we want to look at then? All right, Russia. Russia has a trade surplus. Wow, their economy is really crushing. Russia also has, no one wants to loan money to Russia, very few people. So the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All right, they can loan to each other all day long. All right, that's fine. But literally, if you're China, how comfortable are you loaning money to Russia and Brazil and India? All right, how comfortable you are with that? Because first of all, China and India have some issues. China and Russia, by the way, do you not know the history of Mao? They have some issues. I have no clue about South Africa, but who cares about them anyway? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South. Do you not think there's some potential hostilities there, but among those countries? Do you not think there could be a nationalistic fervor at some point against China, against India, against Russia? Come on, man. It's crazy to me. And on top of that, who's our biggest trading partner? And on top of that, who owns most of our debt? And again, and lastly, is private debt dwarfs public debt. It's not even close. So if you're really that worried about debt, the one thing you should do is get rid of your own debt. Because the only thing that's going to happen is deflationary economy, which everyone seems to think is great. I don't understand this at all. Deflationary economies are horrible, man. You'd rather have steady, slow inflation than deflation. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Because what does deflation ultimately lead to? It does lead to massive inflation. Why? Not because of government printing money. It's because of scarcity. All right, scarcity. People don't make enough money to produce a product, thus they won't produce that product. And when everyone is producing products for their own consumption, guess what? You don't have a product to buy now, do you? Regardless of your price, they don't care. People are like, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just keeping what I make. Anyway, so if you're worried about it, I don't know what to tell you, man. There's a lot of things to worry about. Jury duty is one. The government debt isn't one. It just is not. I'm sorry. It's just not. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.